Hi, this is Scott Trudeau with Adobe. Today we're going to be talking about Adobe in higher education, more specifically how to improve admission yield rates from acquisition to enrollment. We're going to do this by providing you with a student's journey through the experience age. When speaking to a lot of the institutions that I work with, they're always trying to acquire the right student. This helps them increase yield rate, doing things like promoting university research, attracting top talent, perhaps boosting brand awareness, and of course, finding new students. So what are your organization's top priorities? Perhaps it's to collect insightful data to drive marketing decisions, automate multi-channel marketing, nurture prospects through the recruitment funnel, personalize touch points, and optimize conversion. Do all these things that should help you increase yield rates. What we're finding is that today's marketer, or higher education marketer, is having to market to many different personas. They might include, for example, post-traditional Paul that needs engaging online education and the convenience of perhaps working when he needs to after his children get out from school or when he gets home from work. Maybe Zoe, who's a freshman deciding between 6+ institutions, and this is one of the main factors of decreasing yield, is that you may have multiple students that are accepted to your institution, but do they actually enroll in courses? It's become easier and easier for today's freshmen to apply to multiple institutions. And when doing so, they may be accepted to multiple institutions as well. And it's the marketer's job to keep your institution top of mind and ultimately filter out those students who you think will accept and enroll in your institution from those who won't. And then we have, for example, transfer Tony, who's coming from a community college and he's looking for a great university to finish his university experience at a great university, a good fit. We have International Isaac, who wants to exchange experiences but needs exceptional university engagement and support. And we see multiple universities now trying to recruit more and more international talent. So how can today's marketer market to all these different personas and personalize that experience? And we're going to show you how that's done through a student journey. And we like to take a look at the student journey where there's an awareness and consideration phase, a conversion phase. The awareness and consideration is where those students are learning about your institution, they're considering your institution. Finally, the conversion stage is where they're doing things like coming back to your website. They are filling out information requests. Perhaps they apply to the institution and then ultimately enroll. And then we have a few other webinars coming up as well. One on September 14th around acceptance and the student experience, and also September 28th around alumni nurturing. So we're going to take you through the awareness, consideration to conversion, ultimately to the acceptance phase today. And we're going to do that by introducing you to a series of tools that Adobe now offers that help you analyze data, that will help you attract new students, and of course personalize content and deliver that content to your end user. We like to take a look at this as the framework of a digital transformation. In fact, Adobe's gone through that in the last 8-9 years as well. We've changed the way we traditionally sell software to more of a reoccurring subscription-based model, as well as acquiring other companies and building this framework to help our marketers analyze, attract, and go through content and personalization. So we're going to track this student, Carrie, through a journey. And Carrie likes to tinker with electronics. She loves mathematics, science, music, and computers. Carrie'd like to pursue an engineering degree and possibly obtain her MBA afterwards. Carrie's much like my two daughters. I have an 18 and 16-year-old daughter. They are both part of Gen Z, and they have never known a world without smartphones and social media. They're constantly on their phones. They take pictures and share those pictures around their experiences, as well as even do their homework on the phone. So we're going to walk Carrie through this awareness and consideration phase. And right now, Carrie's taking a look at different institutions. Perhaps she's heard about these different institutions through word of mouth, through searching the internet, email, online ads, television ads. And then we want to walk her through various conversion phases of her journey as well, where she clicks through to your website, perhaps revisits your website a few times, does a information request, ultimately fills out an application, and finally applies to your institution. So let's start with Carrie doing a search for engineering schools. So Carrie's looking for a school of engineering to go to, and she types and does a Google search. In this case, she comes up with various results, and Darby University, the fictitious university that we'll be walking Carrie through, has done their search engine optimization, and their results are top of mind. One of the things that they could do is much like the university above this, is where they're using page search as well. But she clicks on the university, and then our marketing team has done their work. So our marketing team is opening up their suite of tools, and that little blue arrow is pointing to what I like to call the solution switcher. Down drops a panel with all the solutions that are integrated together. And in this case, we're going to start with analytics so that we can start making data-driven decisions. Because when Carrie first lands on our website, she's an unknown visitor, but we're already collecting useful information. For example, we know she's a first-time visitor, or perhaps we've dropped a persistent cookie that stays on her machine. We know she's there the second or third time. But regardless, in this case, she's a first-time visitor. We know generally where she is coming from, in this case, Michigan, and we can even boil that down to zip code if we wish. She has no previous logons, or perhaps no previous information requests. We know the referring URL, operating system, what kind of device she was on. So we're already collecting useful information, even though Carrie is this unknown visitor. So here you can see an analytics dashboard where I can do things like collect page views from different page properties, pull those up in a column view, and quickly take a look at which perhaps colleges and degrees or campaigns are performing better than others. And then you can see where I have dimensions, metrics, segments on the side. So if I want to segment this out for international traffic, I could simply grab the non-US visitors segment and drag and drop it onto the page views metric, and it would go ahead and sort that out for me. So analytics provides us with the data that we need to make data-driven decisions, smart decisions. So Carrie lands on the home page after clicking on the link from our search results. We're starting to build more information about Carrie. From there, she clicks on the engineering program. So now we know this anonymous user is interested in a specific degree. And this is incredibly important in that your website is probably one of your top recruitment tools. 77% of juniors and 82% of fall seniors say, this is high school students, say that the college website is one of the top resources that they visit for learning additional information about where they'd like to attend. So it's important for the marketer to have an optimized website that's collecting information, that is perhaps even targeting and doing some personalization. So Carrie browses the website for a mechanical engineering degree. And in this case, again, we're learning more. We're drilling down on Carrie's journey. So you can see this content management system, and that is one of the solutions that Adobe offers. It's called Adobe Experience Manager. And it ties in nicely with the other solutions across the Experience Cloud, such as analytics and targeting, so you can do things like A/B testing. And we'll talk more about that further into Carrie's journey. But here's the content management system. It allows your content experts to quickly publish information, but at the same time get reports right within the CMS on how various pages are performing. So here you can see Carrie is browsing the page. She is delighted to see that there's female faculty members as part of the mechanical engineering degree. She makes a mental note that Darby it offers people who are much like herself, females within the mechanical engineering interests, that can perhaps help mentor her through the program. So we also know and find out that Carrie would like to live on campus. As you can see, she is browsing to the student living page, the about page, looks at different choices that are available for living on campus. She then wants to know more about what it's like to be a student on campus, so she goes to the social board. So within AEM is another solution. So we have our content management system, but we also have Livefire, which allows the marketer to pull in and curate content across different social channels so that you can use it on your own properties. So in this case, Carrie is interested in student life, sees multiple posts from her peers. So in a 2-hour period, 94,000 pics are posted on Instagram and 71.5 million posts on Facebook. That's a lot of user-generated content. And when it comes to millennials, user-generated content is 20% more influential and 50% more trusted than any other type of media. And I see that with my own daughter. So if they're going through a shopping experience and they're looking at perhaps a dress or pair of pants they'd like to purchase, or some kind of digital tool that they'd like to purchase, one of the first things that they do is scroll to the bottom and start reading reviews and looking at pictures that your peers have created. So that content is very trusted toward them. So the marketer goes back to the solution switcher, pulls up Experience Manager, and remember, part of Experience Manager is simply being able to curate this content that's coming in from these different social channels onto your own properties. So the marketer pulls in a Livefire media wall right into their AEM page. So you're taking a look at our content management system with the Livefire plugin, pull the media wall into place, and you can see, based on, for example, different hashtags, it's populated with posts from different users or different students across the campus. So one of the problems is that user-generated content is time-consuming to curate and moderate. But Livefire offers us all kinds of different features that we can use within our own site properties. Things like a media wall, a map of the campus that maps different photos and social posts of the campus, of areas, hotspots that are popping up. Perhaps it's at the athletic stadium or at the School of Engineering. Polls, reviews, trending carousels, and you can see from this page here, simply drag and drop that into place. And the curation occurs here as well, as does the moderation. So if there's a post that you don't necessarily want to be shown, you can pull that out quite easily. So Carrie spends a good amount of time browsing through the user-generated content. All the while, we're collecting this information on analytics. We're saying, hey, this user wants to live on campus. This user is interested in the engineering program. Perhaps they've spent more than 10 minutes on our site, making this a more valuable prospect than the other prospects that we're collecting through analytics. Carrie ends her browsing session for soccer practice, and now our marketers can learn from the data that they've been collecting. So in this case, they want to identify high-value prospects who can be retargeted. So for example, degree equals engineering, information request not requested. That's our next call to action, is to get Carrie to fill out an information request, schedule a campus visit, ultimately to apply, right? She's also interested in on-campus housing. So the next strategy is to use audience segmentation to perhaps drive personalization. So we can go up to the top, use our solution switcher, from analytics, save a segment. This segment that you see in the prior slide. And once that segment's saved within analytics, it's saved to our core service called Profiles and Audiences. And that core service is like this channel that underlies all these different solutions. So for example, if I want to target and personalize content on my web page, I could use Target to do that based on the segment that we've saved. So that segment's going to be available to us across these solutions. So here we can see in Adobe Analytics, we've created a segment where page perhaps equals College of Engineering, page equals campus life student housing, page does not equal information requests. So we're kind of sorting out this user. These are all the places they've been. These are all the places they haven't. Visits equal 1, or it could be more than 1. And we want to take a look at the data from, say, the last 30 days. So if this user has visited our website and done these particular actions within the last 30 days, bundle them into a segment. And then very important, we would like to save this segment to the Marketing Cloud so that we can use it across the other solutions, such as our programmatic ad buying solution, which is Media Optimizer. So our next step is to retarget carry, keep our institution top of mind, and many institutions are doing this by using paid search, display, and social. And oftentimes it's hard to manage because they're having to dedicate specific amounts of money, budget to these different sources, and they're having to log in and of course purchase display or search and social in 3-4 different places. Media Optimizer allows you to manage this all within one solution. So here you can see the marketer jumps into the solution switcher, opens up Media Optimizer, and using Media Optimizer we can now activate segments. So that segment that we saved earlier to the Marketing Cloud now becomes available to us within, say, Media Optimizer. So we can take that and then do things like activate that segment for real-time bidding. So we could say, for example, we have this high-value segment, the student that's interested in engineering. She's also interested in living on campus. We'd like to market we'd like to retarget or remarket toward this one prospect. So when she's visiting other publishers' websites, she will see our ads. And we're willing to actually pay a little bit more for this high value prospect as well. So if you have a publisher that carry visits, a publisher may say, I have some ad space available, and you as an advertiser will say, well, I have this segment I'd like to advertise to, and we're willing to pay this much to do so. We can use audience activation to activate that audience, make that purchase for you so that your ad's displayed on the publisher's website. So here you can see where we're doing some algorithmic creative optimization as well. So not only can we negotiate a deal for some ad space on a publisher's website through Media Optimizer, we can also serve up the correct creative to carry. So for example, we can have multiple image options, multiple border colors, different offer texts, and different calls to action, such as colored buttons that perhaps have different copy on those buttons. And in this case, we can say, Carrie is interested in the School of Engineering, so we want to place some engineering text on this ad. We'd also like to show an ad that has, perhaps a scene from the School of Engineering and a find out more call to action button, because this segment has not yet requested information. So algorithmically, we're able to serve this ad up to Carrie. So we negotiate this ad space. Carrie comes to the publisher's website. She is identified as this high value segment and someone we'd like to market to. We purchase some ad space on the publisher's website, and we're able to serve the appropriate content as well. And this all happens, by the way, in less time than it takes to blink your eye. So Carrie goes on. She comes back from soccer practice, and in this case, she's doing, reading various articles on the web and checks Reddit, and there the ad appears. So Reddit has some space available. It negotiates that deal through Media Optimizer with your institution, and Darby is able to display the ad to that segment, and you're able to save some money as well, because this is a much higher value segment that we've discovered through our data. So the ad resonates with Carrie. It's keeping your institution top of mind. She also goes on to Facebook, perhaps to see what her family's doing, and she sees an ad about campus dormitories and student living. because that was part of the segment that we created and loaded into Media Optimizers. This is a student who's interested in on-campus living, and but has not yet filled out an information request. Carrie jumps into Instagram. Again, she sees an ad, and this is all being managed by Media Optimizer for or a video. Perhaps this is a video-based ad on about student life across Darby University. This resonates with Carrie. She clicks on the video and we have a conversion. So our first conversion is to keep our institution top of mind and get Carrie back to our website to hopefully fill out a request for information. So the next strategy I offer using the Experience Cloud set of tools is don't guess, test. So the marketer opens up the solution switcher, the panel drops down. They're like, you know what, let's set up some targets or some A/B tests using Adobe Target. So Adobe Target is going to allow you to optimize your website for best conversion. So Carrie sees an ad for Darby School of Engineering. She also sees a video within Instagram. She clicks through that video and lands on a landing page or perhaps your home page. Now our next step is to get students to fill out that request for information. So in this case, we may have different creative, we have different copy, we've changed the call to action. Maybe one says learn more, one says request information. So we have version A and we have version B of this website. Version A is served up to 50% of our site visitors, so it's version B. It runs for a amount of time, and then we determine a statistical based winner. And once we determine that, it's like, hey, this version A has 3% increase in conversion than B, or 4% or 5%, let's start serving up version A. So once we have version A, then we can even test down to different elements as well. Maybe instead of the orange color graphics, we want to see if the same color graphics but with a green tint work better. So you're constantly testing, and you're constantly finding which converts better. So in this case, Carrie has served up version A because it has proven through A/B testing or multivariate testing that this is the best experience. And how you do that is once you open up Adobe Target, we have two experiences. You can see up at the top, Experience A, Experience B. We could rename those if we wished. But here's where we can click on some creative. We can move creative around. So it targets the web page, the landing page, the home page that you wish to target. Here you can change out media. You can change out copy, move elements around. And that would be, say, Experience A. Experience B, perhaps we're going to move the alumni box down to the bottom because this is for new students. We want to put campus life up at the top instead, and we want to see which version, A or B, tests better, converts better with that segment that we've identified. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a segment. Maybe you're just testing to see which converts better based on some calls to action that you have on your website as well. So here you can see we're going to auto allocate to the best experience, automatically show most new visitors the best performing experience. And that will allow our website to convert better. So Carrie clicks on the page, and now remember we're trying as a next step to get her to request information about the program. This is a great place to do more A/B testing. It's often found that forms will perform better if you break them into pieces, or perhaps have a form field that does not ask for a phone number. If you're doing A/B testing, you can have multiple variations of the form, run that test for a specific period of time, and then determine scientifically through testing which is going to give you the best conversion. So of course we're running analytics on this as well, and if we're perhaps running Experience B and we see that it has a higher drop rate than Experience A, then we're going to want to make some changes to that form, or take Experience A and start serving that up to most of our end users, which is what we do. So in this case, Carrie is receives the form that's been broken into multiple steps. She proceeds through the different steps where she is filling out her information. And perhaps step 2 has some form field that is scaring users away. Well, we'll be able to quickly see that through our analytics, right? So the next step is to nurture prospects via multiple channels, and make sure SMS is one of those channels. And I can't stress that enough, because just watching my own 18 and 16-year-old daughters, how much time they're spending texting their friends. They respond. If I send them an email, I have to send them a text to say, go check your email, because they are checking their text frequently, but not their email. So in this case, our marketers pull down the solution switcher, go to campaign. We're going to start creating some marketing automation, some email marketing, SMS marketing campaigns. So remember, Carrie filled out an information request. We've set up some targets. Maybe once that information data populates our CRM, pulls up a trigger, and that trigger says, okay, please respond with these specific email and this specific text. So she fills out the request for information. Carrie views Darby's email, but unfortunately she does not download the brochure. So this is where our marketing team can use Adobe Campaign to just pull out these little icons and set up a workflow. So we can schedule an event to happen. We can query, for example, our CRM in our analytics data and say, you know what, if we have an end user that perhaps was sent an email but has not yet clicked to download our information package, what should we do? Well, the next thing that we're going to do in this case is target which channels are going to make contact with Carrie. So it could be a marketing message via email, perhaps a text via SMS. We could do a push notification so that on their mobile device they get a little push bubble that pops up and notifies them that something's going on. They might get a phone call from a call center, and even a direct mail piece if you wanted to. So you can measure and create those different channels right within Adobe Campaign. So in this case, we've created a schedule that basically says, go find those end users that have checked their email but have not yet downloaded the brochure. And we want to respond to those users via these channels. And we're going to wait 24 hours to do this. So if they have not yet downloaded the brochure in 24 hours, we're going to have something happen. And that something happens is we're just going to retarget or remarket to the end user. So here you can see that Carrie is our prospect. And suddenly she gets a text that says, hey, Carrie, your School of Engineering information package is ready. Check it out. So 24 hours later, she gets a reminder, keeping our institution top of mind. Now, there's some things about text that are important. 77% of students want information from colleges via text. 59% of students say a college can text them. Adults 18 to 24 years old send and receive over 128 texts every day. And texts have a 98% open rate. So if your retargeting strategy does not include texts, I highly recommend reevaluating your strategy. So in this case, she gets a text, goes and checks out the link within the text, is able to download the information brochure. And we have some call to actions within that email or that text as well. One's to download the brochure, one's to schedule a campus visit. So here's where we could also use targeting within our email to see which version of the emails test better. So in this case, Carrie schedules a campus visit and downloads the brochure. You can see the different layouts. In this case, it's an iPad. It could be her phone. It could be her laptop. Regardless, it should look good across all devices. So she reads the brochure and schedules a campus visit. So all this is automated through our marketing automation tools, and now we have added her to the next step as a higher value segment. So if you think about it now, Not only she's interested in engineering, we now have some first-party data from her information requests. For example, we have her phone number, her email address, specifically maybe what program she's interested in. If she's male or female, that could be based on, for example, her on-campus living choices. And she has taken the time to download the brochure. So this becomes a much higher value segment, and the more interest they're showing, remember, the more likely they are to not only accept but also to enroll in your institution, thus increasing yield. So advanced segments help retarget high value prospects, and I just kind of went through this. So we have program equals engineering, gender equals female, scheduled campus visit, but we've not yet received an application. So what could also be automated is if they download the brochure and they meet specific criteria based on the segment, perhaps it triggers an alert or an SMS or a text, or Melissa has some kind of portal that she's monitoring, and the alert basically says, we have this high value prospect, can you make sure to reach out to Carrie? So you can see the next step is she's reaching out to Carrie via text. So, hi Carrie, I'm Melissa, your admissions counselor. The application deadline's coming up. Please let me know if you need any help. Could have some links to perhaps her email, or she could target her via text and email. And so the next strategy is to make sure you A/B test emails for optimal conversion. So here the marketer goes to solution switcher, jumps into campaign again, because we want to nurture this high value prospect through the admissions process. And what can happen at this point is perhaps a personalized email sent to Carrie. So Carrie checks her email, completes the application, also sees information based on that her advisor sent her, so it creates this person-to-person connection at the university. Maybe at this point Melissa calls her and is able to help talk Carrie through the admissions process. So make sure you A/B test these emails. So, sending out an email is fine, but is it the best performing, best converting email? So you can do things like use Adobe Campaign to set up A/B tests and have multiple variations of an email. You can see in this case, we have variant A, variant B. Maybe you're sending 10% of the emails to a specific audience, variation A, the other 10% get variation B. Once we've determined which performs better, the other 80% of the audiences of people who look like Carrie will receive the winning variation. So we have these nice reports, and doing A/B testing within Campaign is a highly effective tool for allowing you to get an uptick in your conversion rates. So now we've seen awareness to engagement. Every student journey is an experience. Keep in mind the typical school's admission yield is down, in large part because it's become easier for students to apply at multiple colleges. And we're using marketing tools to automate the nurturing process so that we can keep our institution top of mind. We're not only automating the marketing process, but we're also filtering high interest students into our high value prospects bucket. So what we will know about these students is that they have a high interest in our institution, are likely to not only apply but also to enroll in our institution as well. So continued retarget after acceptance to your institution. And this is where you're going to make that yield difference. Just because they're accepted doesn't necessarily mean they're going to enroll. So we have to keep these high value prospects that have been accepted to the institution. We have to keep our institution top of mind because they may have received acceptance letters from 6 or 7 other institutions as well. And we can do that using the same strategies that we've used to retarget Carrie in the past. We can use Adobe Campaign for email and SMS. We can use, for example, Media Optimizer to continue to buy search and paid and displayed social advertising for just this high value segment. So that if Carrie, for example, goes off between the acceptance and the actual time she enrolls, she can continue to see ads within her social environment, and also those sites that she visits frequently. So here you can see we're using Adobe Campaign to automate some workflows again based on segmentation. Here we see, hi Carrie, welcome to Darby. She sees a new student checklist that is providing her with useful information. This also keeps our institution as well as her admissions counselor top of mind. She goes ahead and enrolls in the institution, uses, or perhaps she's excited that she was just accepted to the institution, and therefore now she does what my two daughters do, is when they're excited about something going on in their life, is they document that and share it socially. This has now come full circle. So not only is Carrie started off her journey through looking at the social board that was part of Darby's website, curated from external user-generated content, but now Carrie's adding to that same site. So based on specific hashtags and campaigns that you're running, you're able to find Carrie's post and use that post within your own social board. Carrie's excited about seeing her post on Darby's website. And of course, you've curated this through various social channels, and you can also moderate it right within AEM Livefire. So I hope you've seen through this presentation that you can use a incredibly powerful set of tools that are all integrated together within a single dashboard to do things like make data-driven decisions using Adobe Analytics, engage students with peer-generated content using AEM and AEM Livefire, hosting your own website and content management strategies using Adobe AEM Sites, use audience segmentation to drive personalization, and that can be across the board of the different tools, but where I like to start good audience segmentation is within analytics. Leverage programmatic marketing, in other words, being able to use those segments and purchase display, purchase search, purchase social advertising within a single easy-to-use environment. Don't guess test, doing A/B testing to test your calls to action and which provides the best conversion, to test your content to see which provides the best conversion engagement. Also, nurture prospects via multiple channels. Make sure to include SMS. So it could be email retargeting, SMS retargeting, push notifications, direct mail. But I see with specifically our college-age students, SMS and email are still highly effective, and in some cases so is direct mail. A/B test emails for optimal conversion. So make sure that you have tested your emails. You have two different variations. You've served those up to a specific portion of or percentage of your audiences, and then select the one that statistically performs best. And finally, continue to retarget after acceptance to keep your institution in mind. Until that student is actually enrolled, we're going to constantly use remarketing strategies and retargeting strategies to keep the institution top of mind. And all those things will lead to a higher yield rate. So as you can see, the framework of digital transformation provides you with the tools needed to do marketing automation, audience personalization, audience segmentation, great data analysis so that you can make data-driven decisions, and finally ways to manage and personalize your content through, for example, AEM Sites, our content management system, Livefire, which allows you to curate, moderate social posts and user-generated content, as well as optimize that. And these all integrate together, the single dashboard of tools. So you have the solution switcher, and within that solution switcher, you can switch between these different tools. And by the way, it's not necessary to turn all the tools on or purchase all the tools. Maybe you just need analytics and an A/B testing tool like Target. You can just purchase those two together, and as you mature as a marketing team, you can add on, for example, Adobe Campaign, and then that will integrate with the other tools as well, like Target and Analytics. So Today's webinar is about awareness and consideration conversion. We have other webinars coming up September 14th and 28th on how you can use marketing automation tools to also help with student journey experience through the institution. So hopefully you can continue to create an environment that the students are excited about using digital tools while they're actually going to your institution. Hopefully helping your graduation rates and finally nurturing alumni so they don't feel like the only time you communicate with them is when you want money. And they'd be much more willing to donate money, by the way, if they're constantly being nurtured about different events going on. And the way to do that, I feel today, is through digital marketing tools. So that concludes today's presentation. We will constantly be updating this channel with more content. Thanks for listening.